Let's get it.
Let's do it. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Ride with Chris Harris Jr. I am Patrick Chiotti. I am joined, of course, as always, by my co-host, former Denver Broncos Super Bowl 50 champion, all-decade cornerback Chris Harris Jr. Chris, it's been a while. It's good to see you, man. How did the bye week treat you?
Oh man, it was good, man, and I feel good, rested, ready to go. So hopefully Broncos feel good, ready to go Monday night. Big show under the lights, and it's a big game for us.
Yeah, huge game coming up. Of course, the Broncos coming off of their bye week, going into Buffalo, very hostile environment for their Week 10 matchup against the Bills, who, Chris, the Bills have not been playing like the Super Bowl contender Bills that they have been for the last couple of seasons. The Broncos on the adverse side coming off of a huge win against the Kansas City Chiefs, a historic win, one would say.
Yeah,
And this game, Chris, this game has some huge potentials. If the Broncos win this game, they get to 4-5. They're right back in the playoff hunt for the AFC.
yeah,
This loss for the Bills, this could mean some changes coming from the Bills, possibly. I mean, if that drops you down to 5-5, this is not like the Bills that we've seen in recent years. Josh Allen is not playing at that same level. Somehow they're still top 5 in offense and defense, which is pretty crazy to me. But all in all, this is a huge game for both teams, and we're gonna break down this game. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty. We're gonna bring up some key matchups for this game. We're gonna talk about some X factor players in this game. Chris, this is a huge game too, because your former teammate, Super Bowl
yeah.
50 champion, Super Bowl 50 MVP Von Miller is facing off against the Broncos for the first time since he was traded away a few years ago to the LA Rams. Speaking from, that perspective, the perspective of coming back and playing against your former team, even though it's not in Denver, this is the first time Von's going to be facing off against the Broncos. This is a pretty big storyline. Can you speak a little bit to the mindset of what it's like as a player having to play against the team that you not only like played for,
Yeah,
you were drafted by, but a team that you won a Super Bowl with, and you were the Super Bowl MVP for that team?
yeah. Oh man, of course you want to win. You want to win bad. So it's definitely going to be a big game for Von. Facing the Denver. It might not be too big for him just because he was traded and they traded him in good spirits and they let him go win
Yeah,
another Super Bowl.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't think Von has any rivalry or any bad blood. So I think it's just going to be he's going to definitely try to attack Bowles. Try to get in Bowles' head since he's played against him a lot.
yeah,
And he's also played against Mitch too a lot. For
yeah,
at the right tackle. So I think he's very familiar. I think Floyd is familiar also
yeah,
with these tackles. It's gonna be a big matchup, man. Because we win this game, like you said, we're right back in the thick of it.
yeah,
The Bills, they're dropping off,
yeah,
and pretty much the Dolphins can run away with that division. So
yeah,
it's a huge game for both games. They're chasing the Dolphins, we're chasing the Chargers and the Chiefs,
yeah.
and this game can put us right back in the mix.
Well, before we get into the key matchups for this game, we have a message from our sponsors. The last of the major pro sports league kicks off this week, and BetOnline is your top spot for all your NBA action this season. With the World Series over, NFL college football in full swing, and the NHL, BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access for every sport anytime. Head to the Bet Online today to get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. And Chris, where we're going to start with this
So,
game preview is we're going to start with our key matchups for this game. And you mentioned Floyd, you mentioned Von going up against Mike McGlinchey and Garrett Bowles. I feel like this is going to be one of those key matchups that we're going to be looking at. Bills are coming off of a a struggling last couple of games, and the Broncos are riding that high, winning 2 straight, beating the Chiefs for the first time in 16 games. This is going to be one of those prove it games for the Broncos. If they're legit, if the offense is operating at the level that it should be, if Sean Payton has kind of figured things out with this group of players, and if he can get things clicking, this is a huge opportunity for the Broncos on national television on prime time to knock off a contending team. And I think that this is the matchup that we have to keep an eye on. Leonard Floyd, Von Miller going up against Mike McGlinchey and Garrett Bowles. What do you need to see from both of the Broncos tackles in this game, specifically talking about like defending against these two pass rushers? What do you need to see from them in order for the Broncos to have success in this game?
Yeah. Oh, well, those two guys are game records. You can't have Floyd. I think he has 7 sacks leading the Bills. They got a couple other guys with 5 sacks. And, Von, he hadn't had that big game yet this year.
Yeah.
That coming out party, coming back from his injury, showing that he's still Von. So this is a big game for him. They got to definitely do their job, make sure these guys don't wreck the game. Russell got to try to get the ball in his hands a little bit faster. Understand when he's scrambling that Von and Floyd are coming. Bills have a solid D line, so it's every week Denver's had tough matchups on the edge, especially up front. So this is just another day. This is why these guys get paid so much.
Another day in the office,
right? And hey, you gotta buckle that chin strap and get ready to go, man, because it's a big game. We need these tackles to be able to just, last game, like I said, we threw the ball only like 19 times, right? More than half, he had pressure, right? So we got to give this guy some time, let him operate in the pocket and see what Russ can do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, for Leonard Floyd and Von Miller out on the edge, that's one thing that you have to worry about. But then you got Ed Oliver, Epinesa, Russo in the middle. Those guys are beasts. 13 sacks between the three of those guys. Not to understate their impact. The interior for the Broncos line has been fairly solid this year. Powers had a bad, 1 or 2 bad games this season, but all in all, he's been pretty solid. Cushenberry has been
the front three has been nice.
Yeah, like the front three has been fine. And this is not, this is going to be a tough game for them as well. But if McGlinchey and Bowles cannot contain outside and they can't allow Floyd and Miller and Vaughn to get in and create pressure, this is going to be a long game for the Broncos offense. So I think that running the ball has to be in that game plan. I'm sure that Sean Payton has already made that decision. Hey, we need to give Javonte Williams 20 carries this game. 20 carries. Just in carries. Give Jaleel McLaughlin the ball at least 5 to 8 times. Let him get let him get his legs going, and then utilize Perine out of the backfield. That's got to be the game plan, because you're not going to win. You're not going to win this game just passing the ball. The Bills defense has suffered some injuries. They got Josh Norman back playing corner now. It's back to 2016, man. Josh Norman is playing cornerback again.
Probably knows that system. It's probably some guys that he had from Carolina. They probably know that system pretty well.
Absolutely. And I mean, this isn't one of those games where like, oh, the secondary's banged up. Oh, we can throw the ball. No, this is one of those games where you have to control the clock. You got to be able to control the ball. So I think running the ball, taking the ease off of the tackles early to maybe make them feel a little more comfortable, that's probably going to be going to be in the game plan. Another matchup that I wanted to talk to you about, Chris, Stephon Diggs versus Patrick Surtain. I think we can both safely say that Patrick Surtain will be following Stephon Diggs in this game. What do you think about this matchup? Do you like this matchup? Do you think that this is one of those matchups that we should be watching?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because it seems like Josh Allen only throws the Diggs. He might find they do like the tight end a lot. He does like the tight end, so we got to be aware for him. And Davis is a game breaker. We've seen in the past he has been able to make some big catches. He just hasn't been getting the ball out this year.
Yeah.
But of course, Diggs is going to be their focus. Sertan versus him. If we can eliminate him, make Davis beat us. Make this tight end beat us.
Yeah.
Force them to run the football because the Bills don't like to run the ball.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're ranked in rushing, but they got to be the
Yeah. They
top last.
are
They got
they
to
are
be
16th in rushing yards. So
okay.
middle of the
60.
pack,
Only reason
you
why
know.
they're middle of the pack is because of Josh Allen's legs. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why, because of him rushing, the quarterback
Mhm.
rushing. So, it's gonna be a great matchup. Diggs is
Yeah.
smaller. He's a smaller receiver. He's fast, but
He's
he's not
shifty.
very fast.
Yeah.
I think Sertan can play square, put hands on him. He can run with them. He's just a guy that's great at the top of the route. Diggs is so.
Yeah.
Sertan be able to play solid, be able to break down on the routes. I think he'll have a good game. So hopefully this will be one of Sertan's best games, big games that he has on the year.
Yeah, I think everybody is looking for that big game, right? And I was talking with the birthday boy, Mario Vitanzi himself. I was talking about this matchup with him yesterday, and one of the things that we talked about was that this is almost feels like a desperation game for Buffalo. If they lose this game and they go to 500, this this is not a good sign for this team going forward. This is a team that many thought could. They've been hanging with the Chiefs the last couple of years.
Yeah,
They've been one of the top teams in the AFC, and now all
yeah,
of a sudden we're going to have this conversation of, are they even going to make the playoffs? Are they
yeah,
even going to be able to get into the playoffs? So this feels like it's a desperation game, and
yeah,
a Broncos player, I won't name any names, said that when Josh Allen is playing under desperation, he makes a lot of mistakes. And that's going to be one of the
yeah,
things that this defense needs to take advantage of. He's a gunslinger. He's going to be throwing that
yeah,
ball regardless of what he sees. He's going to be trying to force the ball into tight windows across the middle of the field. We've seen it a lot this season. He tries to force those balls in there. They get tipped, they get dropped, interceptions happen, turnovers happen. And it just feels like it's one of those games. So I'm really looking for that PS2 pick six. That's what I'm looking for in this game against
yes,
Stephon
sir.
Diggs. Chris, the last key matchup that you have was the Broncos pass rush, the Broncos defensive front against Josh Allen, and that's just
Yeah,
building on top of what I'm saying is this is going to be one of those games where you have to get at Josh Allen and make him make those mistakes. Tell us a little bit more about what you're
yeah,
expecting to see from this matchup and how maybe
yeah,
this Broncos defense can contain Josh Allen a lot like how they
yeah.
contained Patrick Mahomes in that last game.
Man, when you play the Bills, Josh Allen, he's the head of the snake, right? You got to cut off
Mm.
that head,
Ooh,
and he's a guy that that he's gonna try to scramble. He's gonna try to make throws on the run. They'll have designed run plays for him where he
yep,
kind of like Cam Newton like, right, and
yeah,
be able to run up the middle, up the gaps. It's gonna take a team effort up front with the linebackers, with the D line, be able to contain this guy, right? Because you're
yep,
not just containing him in the air, you're containing his legs. So we got to be able to get to this guy, make him rush his throws. That's when he's made a lot of mistakes when he's
yeah,
pressing, when he's rushing. He gets his mechanics get out of whack, and then he sails the ball. I expect Justin Simmons to get another pick.
yeah,
Right, this is
yeah.
another when we face quarterbacks that overthrow and sell and trust so much in their arm strength over their
Justin's always
accuracy.
there.
Justin's always going to be
He's
right there to get a
he's
pick.
always
So
there.
I'm calling it Justin Simmons pick.
I like
Maybe
it.
PJ Locke, he might have one, because
Hey,
the ball's going to be up in the air for overthrows. And
mhm,
Sertan definitely has a great chance because he's looking at 10
yeah,
to 8 targets versus Diggs.
at
You
least,
got to
at
come out. You
least,
got to come out with one of those,
yeah,
right? So, and Josh Allen's not going to change. He's going to force the ball. He's going to throw it to Diggs,
yeah,
right? He has to try to keep him happy. So
mhm,
that D line has to do a great job containing him, like they did with Mahomes. Keep have a great plan for the quarterback run game because he's different than Mahomes in that way
yeah,
that they can call design run plays, the Cam Newton effect, right?
mhm,
With Josh Allen, that's the difference. So
Yeah.
We got to contain this guy. He's the head of the snake.
Yeah, when he gets loose, it's tough because he is a big dude. 6'6",
Yeah,
245. That's a lot. That's a big football player, and he's running full
yeah,
speed at you. I mean, listen, I'm sorry. You got to tackle that guy. Like, if you got to tackle that
yeah,
guy in open space, that is not an easy thing to do. It's like trying to tackle Cam full,
yeah,
going full speed right at you, full gear. Like, that's a tough ask. And
yeah,
one of the things that Mario and I were talking about was like, I'm a little worried about the amount of missed tackles from this Broncos defense that we've seen over this season. Things have gotten a little bit better, but when you're facing a dude like Josh Allen who can run through arm tackles, who is not just going to be brought down by one guy, you got to hit this guy hard. You got to hit
yeah,
him like you guys hit Cam Newton in the season opener after the Super Bowl. That's how they have to play this game. And that's the
yeah.
type of energy that they need to bring. Can you speak a little bit to that fact of, you're dealing with a guy who is massive, who is a good thrower of the ball, but also, has that mobile effect, and how hard is it to really bring a guy down like this
Yeah,
in a game scenario?
yeah. Man, it's always tough when you play a guy like Josh Allen, especially third down.
Hmm.
Third and shorts. They make it real hard, and even in the red zone, right? Every time we played
Yeah,
the Bills in the red zone, we
yeah,
knew we were going to be in man. We're going to have a quarterback spy, so it's
yeah,
going to be harder on the secondary, right?
yeah,
Because we're going to have less help in the pass game. So he brings a lot of different difficult effects to the defense, of which you don't see every week, and how you game plan. And
yeah,
man, he's like you said, man. You got to kind of tackle the ball, right?
yeah,
Because he's so big, and he's fast. And he's fast.
yeah.
So you got to be able to tackle the ball, try to get this ball off him, because he's one thing that we can't say. He will turn the ball over, and that's what he's been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, he will. And 3 fumbles on the year, 6 touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns for Josh Allen.
See, it's
So
a rush game. Yeah,
yeah, and that's the majority of that red zone look. And
yeah,
why not? Like, when you got a guy who's big like that, and who you can utilize. I mean, you got an extra guy that you have to worry about on the defensive side of the ball. Like, that's so tough to defend, and that's going to be one of those areas where Vance Joseph has to make that adjustment. He made that adjustment in the Chiefs game, used Nick Bonito as a spy a few times, and it worked for the most part. But what they did so great was Jonathan Cooper and Baron Browning were cutting off the peel backs that Patrick Mahomes loves to do. And when I went back and I watched the film, it looked like, okay, Barron's just getting way too deep downfield, but it almost looked like it was planned, because so many times Cooper would be coming in, Mahomes would look to escape, he'd turn around, and I think there were 2 instances of this. He turns around and he sees Barron right behind him, and he turns back around, nowhere to go. So
hmm
if they can come in with a game plan that's very similar to that, maybe not the same one, because Josh Allen he likes to push the line of scrimmage. He doesn't like to go back and then push like a Mahomes does. He just likes to push. And if you can find that one guy, whether that is Nick Bonito, whether that's a Alex Singleton or a Josie Jewell, who can spy Josh Allen to that extent, then I feel like you have a pretty good game plan set. But you have to be able to contain this guy, and you have to be able to stop those running lanes, because it's going to be there and he's going to take off. So those
right.
are our 3 big matchups to watch. Chris, we're going to get on to X Factor players for the Broncos, and we're going to give one X Factor player for the offensive side of the ball and one X Factor player for the defensive side of the ball. So I want to ask you first, who is your X Factor player this week against the Bills for the Broncos offense?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with Cortland. I think
Yeah,
he has a favorable matchup outside. No Tre'Davious White,
yeah, that's huge.
younger DBs. I think we need to find a way to attack them.
Mhm.
and especially use Cortland in the red zone this game. So I expect him. He should be the X factor in the game because I believe that that's our biggest mismatch
Yeah.
on their defense. Right, is our receivers are better than their corners. So I
Yeah.
think that's something that we got to figure out a way to take advantage this week. So Cortland would be my guy.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. This is a Bills defense that they get pretty handsy, they get pretty grabby, especially in the red zone. So I think you're absolutely right. Is Court gonna be that guy from the 35 to from the 35 to the 35? Probably not. But 35 in, that's gonna be
Yeah,
Cortland Sutton territory all day long. And when you're
right.
running the ball as much as I expect them to run the ball, which is going to bring me to my X factor player, that's going to be a perfect recipe for Cortland Sutton to get those red zone touches. My X factor player on the Broncos offense is going to be Javonte Williams. Has to be. You got to feed this guy. He's getting into his gear. Each week they've been up in the carries a little bit more and more. And this is a Bills defense that has not done well against the run. I think that this is a prime opportunity. You're coming off the bye week. Guys are feeling good. Guys are feeling healthy. This is a team who is kind of down in the dumps, trying to figure out what's our recipe for success. And then you have the Broncos coming in who are like, oh, we're finding our groove. And
Hmm.
maybe that groove is running the football. So I am going to say Javonte Williams, X factor player on the Broncos offense. Chris, Broncos
Yeah,
defense. Who's your X factor player?
I'm gonna go with Barron because
Yeah.
it's about containing this guy, Josh Allen, bringing pressure on him. Man, he's
Yep.
been an impact player since he's been back, and we need him to have a big game. We need him to outshine Vaughn and Floyd this week. So he's
Ooh,
my X factor right now. You could also, of course, go with Pat Surtain being the X factor, but I'm gonna go with Barron this week.
I like it. I think that since Barron's come back, he has done so well at creating pressure. Even the sack numbers are what they are. I mean, you get 2 sacks against Mahomes, that's huge. But man, he has just been on another level since he's come back. And we were talking about in the last episode, the last couple of episodes, how well Barron has done at being that Vaughn 2.0 guy that we have yet to see. And I think that I'm going to have to agree with you. I think my defensive X factor player is also going to be Baron Browning because this is the game where you got to get home. You got to be able to create pressure. You got to get those sacks. If you can get 1-2 sacks from Baron Browning on Josh Allen, maybe a forced fumble in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I think that that's a good recipe for a Broncos win. So those are our X factor players for the Broncos offense and defense against the Bills. And Chris, we haven't done. I listened back to a few of our episodes, and we have not done a score prediction since I think week 2. We do these
oh
game
man.
previews, but we don't. We never give our score predictions. I hate score predictions because it anything could happen at any time. No one knows what's going to happen. But I want to ask Chris, what is your score prediction for this Monday night game?
Oh man, I wasn't ready. But I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with the Bills. They're gonna put up some type of points. So I'm gonna give them
Yeah.
28. I'm gonna say 28 to 23 Bills.
Oh, okay.
They This is an emergency game for the Bills. They
Yeah.
cannot lose this game.
Look, I agree. And I think that I
I
don't
want
think that
Denver. Of course, we want
we
Denver to
want the
win,
Broncos
fans.
to
We want
win.
them to win. We just gotta.
Duh.
You want us to make predictions. This is
Yeah,
what we have
but
to
you
do.
got to be realistic. And,
Yeah.
and look, I also think I don't think there's any way that the NFL allows Buffalo to lose 3 out of their last 4 games. I don't think there's any way that happens. And whether that's with a little referee help or not, um, that's to be seen. But I think I'm gonna say 24-20 Bills. Broncos
Okay.
defense these last 3 games, they've only been allowing 16 points per game, which is absolutely nuts. They've been running the ball at a huge clip. I think that this game is going to come down to final drive. It's going to come down to fourth quarter. If the Broncos defense can play their game, I think that they have a really, really good chance at winning this game, but it's going to be tough. And like you said, Chris, it's in Buffalo. It's Monday night. It's on national television. This is when this Bills team loves to thrive. And I just don't think the league is going to let them lose 2 in a row. And I don't
We don't
think
have good history.
No.
We don't have good history in Buffalo.
And the league just hates Sean Payton too. So, and it's Von Miller playing against the Broncos. They cannot let the Bills lose this game. If it comes down to it, this is what I think is going to happen. If it comes down to it, and there's a controversial play at the end of the game, Roger Goodell himself is going to pick up the phone, call the head referee, and be like, "Don't you dare let Denver win this game." So that's my bold prediction. Speaking of bold predictions, Chris, I asked on Twitter if Broncos Country had some bold predictions for this game. And before we get out of here, we're going to share some of these bold predictions because I promised the people that we would, and I'm a man of my word.
Sir.
All right. So here we go. Here's our bold predictions for this game. The narrative of Denver taking Josh Allen dies this Monday.
Oh yeah, I retweeted that one. Yeah.
I
don't think it dies, sir.
I don't think it dies.
Yeah, we wasted what year is this for Josh Allen?
It was the Bradley Chubb year. So 2018, 2017, 6 years, 6 years.
So we had 5 years without a quarterback, man. So, we could have definitely used those years. But, I think that's one of those picks that will haunt us for a while for sure.
Definitely. Here's one from a good friend, Alec. Baron Browning has his first 3-sack game. That's a pretty bold prediction.
That's a good prediction, I think. I think it's something that can definitely happen. I think so especially too. With the Bills and the way Josh Allen holds the ball. So yeah, that's a good prediction. It could happen.
It could happen. Mario Vitanzi. Broncos hold Buffalo under 20 points, force at least 2 turnovers. This is a bold prediction. This is very bold.
Boy, everybody will be talking about Josh Allen the next day if we can pull this off.
Oh,
that would be shutting down a Mahomes and a Josh Allen. That would be making a statement right there.
Back-to-back weeks as the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. Has this ever happened? Like, we need to go back. We need the NFL.
Well, we started so bad. We started so bad that those numbers are going to be inflated. It's going to be hard to bring those numbers down.
That 70-point game is just going to haunt us forever. Let's see. I liked this one. Broncos defense special teams scores. I think that's
we need to score again, especially on the road. That's what it takes, man. You got to score. We got to find a way to get some turnovers, get Russell Wilson some extra possessions.
This one's rough. McGlinchey makes Vaughn look like Frank Clark in a Broncos uniform.
I don't think that one was going to happen right there.
I don't know about that one.
That's we could put bold prediction right there.
Bold prediction. Bulls prediction. Broncos win an ugly, low-scoring game, 17-13. I think that's realistic.
That could happen.
That could happen. Boy, there are some good ones here. Let's get to one more. Here we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Broncos will rush for over 250 yards by having 2 backs each top 100 yards rushing for the day.
Ooh, that would be a great day,
That's bold.
But I see us getting around our 150, 160 average. 200, that means the Bills just not playing any defense today.
That means they stopped caring.
Yeah, they just ain't trying. So I don't think that'll happen in such a big game, this magnitude for them. I'll give them 150.
I'll take 150. I do 150. I like that. All right. That is going to do it for our show today. You can catch us live on the Bleacher Report app following Monday night's game. Should be a good one. I hope so. I know it's going to be a late night for you, Chris, but we got to do it, man. Make sure that you are subscribed to this show on whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter at Chris Harris Jr., at Patrick Chiotti, at Believe Network. And make sure that you follow our YouTube channel as well. We're going to be putting up our interviews, our episodes, all will be going up on the YouTube channel. And Broncos Country, until Monday night, let's ride.